Hello there, I am the Colossal Nerd. Okay, in the last two videos I talked about web hosting and podcasting. Now, I know that that is the majority of people's activities online. I mean, there's social networks and, all this kind of stuff. So what I actually want to touch upon now is musicians online and bands and all this kind of thing. Because I personally feel that bands and musicians do not need to have their own homepage anymore. Now, you may be thinking, oh, you're mad, you're absolutely mad. Well, stick with me. Say, for instance, that I was in a band. I actually am, but it's not the point. Do you need to have a website? You can have a MySpace page, which, let's face it, MySpace, although not a lot of people are on there, lets you host your own music, right? And also lets you keep up to date with all your fans and this kind of stuff. Because obviously MySpace are trying to rebrand themselves to become more of an entertainment website, and it's not really working. So MySpace used to be good for musicians and bands to do things, and I think it's important to have a presence on there, but I don't think it's the be all and end all. Nowadays there is, obviously, I think you've heard of something called Facebook. Now, there are apparently 600 million people on Facebook currently, okay, and that's a good percentage of the world, okay. And so I think that if any band is out there now, they should really consider having their own Facebook page. Now, I don't mean one of those like, oh, you have to add me as a friend on this kind of stuff. I mean the one you like, because you can keep up to date with more people, and more people will happily just like you, because there are people just out there just to, or they almost like collect things, like collect pages and all this kind of stuff. And I think the only sort of problem with the MySpace, with the Facebook pages, is that you can't really post your MP3s. There's no sort of place to do that, you see. Now, what I would recommend for any bands or musicians that are watching is that you should upload your music to a place called Jamendo. Now, what Jamendo is, it actually hosts all your files for free. It lets people download them and listen to them and all this kind of stuff. It streams them and, all this kind of stuff. And, that it's free, and there are options to have your music licensed to people, which is pretty good. And as far as that sort of base covered, you see. So you've got that, you've got the MySpace elements of the social aspect, and you've also got the music aspect, you see. So if you just combine the two, I think you can actually combine the two better than that. But of course, you haven't got the sort of blogging aspect. Now, obviously, if you really do want to blog as a musician, I'll just say to you this: are you going to be blogging about being a musician or being in a band or this kind of stuff, or are you going to just basically talk about your day-to-day life, like what you had for your tea? Because that's not really what people want to read about musicians, especially if you're unsigned. No one really cares. That's something horrible, but that's kind of true. I mean, I have got my own blog, and I do talk about what I've got for my tea, but that isn't a musician's blog. That's just a blog about myself. So I think, as far as all things go, to keeping people up to date, you need a Facebook page, and you also need a Jamendo page, so you can give your music away to people. And I'm going to talk about that in the next video. Actually, I'm going to talk about uploading your music for free, versus charging people for it. It's a very interesting debate, that, and it's something that I hold close to my heart. So join me again in that next video. So catch you in a bit.